Hey everyone, how are you doing today? So this video is about painting this, which is essentially a transparent watercolor transparency technique test or lesson. So I found a lesson about that online and I went and did it, and this is what I ended up with results. And it was really useful. So it showed me very clearly how to and why to utilize the transparency or transparent quality of watercolor. So it was a great little painting exercise. I hope you join me and watch it and learn something like I did. All right, thanks. See ya.
So to start off doing these layered flowers, I wanted to test on a sheet colors and paintbrushes and make sure I've got the right paintbrush and all of that good stuff and the color looks right. Once I'm happy with that, I'll move on. Getting the first marks of paint on the page are always the hardest thing. So I'm just making petals here with wet paint, wet brush on dry paper. Leaving room in between those petals so that I can start layering others on top. And I'm essentially using a pink color with maybe a little orange mixed in. You can see as I'm moving along, I'm having to add some more pigment, right? And I'm going back into some of the other petals and dabbing in some of the stronger colors just to add some texture to the petals. And at every step of this process, you need to make sure you let the painting dry completely. Because without dry paint, you don't get layers, you just get mud. So with the first color of the petals dry, I'll put the first layer of leaves and stems in place. I'm letting the leaves overlap the petals, right? So it gives an impression of depth. And what I'm doing is creating the shape with just water. And so I continue along with these leaves and adding stems in as I go. I wanted to take a moment and zoom in onto this. Since you've seen what I'm doing on the palette with the colors, now you can get a better view of what I'm doing on the piece of paper. Taking the time here to add a little texture into the leaf, a little interest, instead of just having it be a solid green color. And like before, in every step we've got here, the paint has had time to completely dry. So I'll zoom in on this because now we're putting in the second color for petals. So this is more orange than pink, but it's still got some of the same pink in it. And just like with the leaves, I'm letting this overlap the dry paint below so you can start to see the layering effect. You need to make sure that you use a color with less pigment or more translucency than the previous color so that you get this effect. I'm also spattering some of each color onto the painting just to harmonize everything and to give it some visual interest. Now I'm mixing up a different green than the previous one, a lighter green. You'll see that process, and then I'll start applying it on the page. Yeah, the first color I mixed up was just plain too dark. It would be potentially usable for the next layer, but not for this one. So now we're getting close to the right green. I just want to make sure the translucency is right. So add a little water in, and then we can start painting the next layer of leaves. And you see again that I'm layering over other petals, other leaves. I'm just letting the new layer read over and through what was already painted. That's why it's imperative that every layer you do in this painting, you let everything dry completely before moving on to the next. Just about good there. Going to let this dry, once I get done with this last leaf, then we'll be able to move on. So this is intended to be a contrast layer. So fairly dark pigmented green to get the leaves to come in and read everything. Well, not everything, but read some of the layers through this dark pigmented leaf. The idea is to add some depth to this painting. Let me zoom in for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm painting right over other leaves and flower petals. And sometimes I'm actually using this contrasting layer to cover up things that didn't come out exactly how I wanted them to. So this gives me a chance to improve things. Now you don't want to put too much contrast because then it won't be contrasting, right? It'll just be one of the main focal points. The idea is this helps your eye move around the composition. So not only painting contrasting or higher pigmented leaves, we'll do a little bit and as petals as well. Again, not so much to take away from the overall composition, but just to help move your eye around the composition. A little paint spatter to add some visual interest and harmony to the whole thing. So here I'm taking the time to mix up the centers of the flowers. Just putting little dots in. I'll fill the field in after everything dries. So this is giving shape to the center of the flower and a focus point for the painting. And once we're done with those and they've dried, I'm just filling the field in with essentially a yellow ochre. So there you go. As always, like and subscribe. Thanks.